Hobbs joins us on the line, the man who has been associated inextricably with Richard's career for so long. Morning, Philip.
Morning, Nick.
This must be quite an odd morning for you, isn't it?
Well, I suppose we all expected it before too long. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, he's been phenomenal, but everybody gets older. He's not going to be champion jockey this year. He's retired on his own terms, which must be good.
So can you remember your very first encounter with Richard? How you two sort of first got together?
Well, it's funny you sort of say that, because I was talking to Diana Nicholson last night, and obviously Richard was been riding for the Duke, David Nicholson, before, and I can't really know. It was a long time ago now. It was more than 20 years ago, and I expect somebody will work out when it was.
And suddenly you were a partnership, and this sort of amazing, enduring partnership. I asked him if you'd ever had a crossword. He couldn't really think of many. He said, I just surround myself with the right people. Somehow you must have just found that you got on extremely well. Can you tell me what the secret to it has been?
Well, first of all, Richard Dunwoody was riding for us before, so that was a connection with David Nicholson as well. You said then that you can't remember or when we had words or anything. And to be honest, I can't remember one occasion. I mean, he's just so straightforward and reliable. He's never been here once late when he's supposed to be coming here schooling. There's no side to him whatsoever. There's never been an occasion when he thought he, got upset because he wasn't riding a horse he thought he should. Because there's been occasions when, some of our lads in the yard, have been riding horses which maybe he might have thought he might have ridden that have won. But he's all that happens if somebody else wins on a horse is he's pleased for the other lad in the yard. So there's never been not once any crosswords.
And when it comes to his own performances in the saddle, what do you think have marked him out? Because a lot's been said about what a good guy he is, how determined he is, and so on. But what has really marked him out in the saddle, do you think? Well,
first of all, he's obviously a very, very good jockey, very, very tough in the finish, very hard to get past him from the last. But, sometimes there's more important things than that. And, he's the best you could possibly have in the paddock talking to owners before and afterwards. We left it too late now, but I've said for some time that we ought to have a video of him talking to owners before and after a race, because he'll say what's needed. If a horse isn't good enough, he'll say so. But he'll say it in a nice way, in that maybe something along the lines, well, he's probably got another job in life, but I don't think that he's probably a racehorse, which is all you need to know, isn't it, really? Whereas some jockeys could get off and be extremely rude about the horse, and there's no point in that. It doesn't do any good at all.
So he's got that diplomacy and that empathy and understanding what your job entails, as well as what his own job entails. Have there been moments in your career where you've thought this wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for Richard Johnson, where he's really made the difference on the biggest stage?
Yeah, I don't think very many would have won on Flagship Imperalis when he won the Champion Chase. I mean, he was off the bridle at the top of the hill, made mistakes all the way down the hill, and still got up and won. There's been a number of occasions like that. I mean, you obviously remember the bigger occasions, but it's just as important, at the smaller stage, winning a smaller race. But he's always been extremely reliable in a race, in that, every horse he'll give a ride. I think that's one of his very strong points. Even maybe yesterday, at Winter Getaway was flat out from the start, and he's pushing away for 3¼ miles, and just keeps going, which is very easy for jockeys to think, oh, this isn't going to win, and give up on it. Which he would never do that, and that's always really good with owners and everybody concerned. That he's always doing his best.
And for you now, for your stable, this leaves a this leaves a massive hole. I know you've got this amazing ability to see things in very straightforward fashion and try not to overcomplicate things, but just try and explain for you what a big hole this will leave.
Well, he's been, involved here for so long, and as such a part of our establishment and a good friend as well with us and all the owners, that it will be a big hole. But, we have to move on. Tom O'Brien will be riding the majority. We've got very good lads in the yard here. Ben Jones, who won the Hennessy last year. Sean Houlihan, they're both £3 claimers, Sean and Ben. And they're both involved here on a daily basis, and they're both very reliable, good, honest lads. But Tom O'Brien will be riding the majority, and then we'll go from there. But and I must also mention Micheal Nolan, who was second in the conditional jockey's title some years ago, and he's been so unlucky, really, with injuries and things. But hopefully he's getting over that now, and he rode a treble the other day at Wincanton, and he'll have plenty of chances too.
So you're well stocked. You're well stocked. It's a lovely opportunity as well for Tom O'Brien in many respects, who himself has had to has sort of slightly been in Richard's shadow for a number of years.
Well, like Richard, he was champion conditional going back some years ago, and he's a very good rider. But he's won on all the horses he should be winning on, but he hasn't really had all the opportunities that perhaps he deserves. So there will be more opportunities from now on.
And Richard, Philip, will you have a nice stable full of horses for all those guys to ride next year?
I certainly hope so. But I mean, obviously, it's just getting to the time of year where we're sorting out things for next season. So we've got to decide what's going to the sales. And then I always think the important thing is at the end of when a horse is finishing its career, you say to the owner, right, well, the better horse, probably not worthwhile training him next season because, it's going to cost plenty of money, and unfortunately he's not really going to be good enough, or looking upon it the other way around, maybe it's not really about the finances, just the fact that the horse might win a moderate race somewhere. There's no point, depending on the owner, obviously. So then the next question is, though, having said the horse is going to go, is will you be buying another one? That's the important question. So we haven't got to that stage yet.
Well, I'm afraid there's only one thing you can't do, and that's buy the Richard Johnson, because you don't get too many of them to the pound, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. I mean, and the other thing, I don't know, I saw you were interviewing him earlier on, but I haven't actually listened to it yet. I mean, the other thing about him, he's so tough. I mean, I remember the day when Wishful Thinking fell in the Champion Chase, and he went under the rails, and the horse went under the rails as well, and the photographer got injured. And Richard hit one of the posts. I mean, obviously these days it's padded, but I saw his leg a month afterwards, and it was double the size it should be. It was black and blue all over, with all the bruising having come out at that stage, and he never missed one ride. I mean, he's so tough, unbelievable what he can manage to do, getting around injuries.
We will miss him from the saddle, no doubt, but I'm sure you're as pleased as we are that he is out on his own terms and out in one piece. Philip, thanks so much for talking to me.
Thank you very much.
Phillip Hobbs, who for so long has been such an important part of the Richard Johnson story, the latest chapter of which, and the most famous chapter of which, came to a surprise conclusion. Well, a shocking conclusion, if not surprise conclusion, at Newton Abbot last night. We will